It's not just about what's physically going on. A lot of it is about what's emotionally going on. Because whatever's going on in our mind and the unconscious mind, as you're aware, is only manifesting, it's like a mirror, is happening throughout the body. So we can be doing everything right, but if we're in high stress, and depending on what else stresses there are in that individual's person, biologically, our body can either produce a large amount of stress, cortisol, and adrenaline, or it can produce estrogen and progesterone. It can't do both. So, we can't get pregnant when we're running away from a tiger.
Connect Coaching Unplugged.
Welcome everybody to Unplugged episode number 16. We have a very, very special guest here on your all access paths to behind the scenes of Connect Coaching, the people, the places, all of the things that we love. Today we have the amazing Liz Walton, a person who absolutely lights up the room every time she walks into it. She makes everybody feel warm and welcome and absolutely loved in her presence. And I'm absolutely excited for her to be here today. Liz, in her 20s, while navigating uncertainty and seeking her true passion, discovered a transformative course called New Opportunities in Holistic Studies. This marked the beginning of her lifelong journey in healing and therapy that reshaped her life's trajectory. For the next decade, she immersed herself in the holistic world, embracing every aspect of alternative therapies and helping clients achieve remarkable transformations in their lives. A key insight she gained was that the innate ability we all possess to heal our bodies, a concept underpins everything she teaches. Her skill set broadens as she embarked on her fertility journey at the age of 36. Through this process, she discovered how childhood experiences, beliefs, and thought patterns can inadvertently lead to self-sabotage, and how, when we are truly ready, we can find our way back to a place of calm. This was a powerful revelation. After 10 years, she and her partner accepted that having a baby was unlikely and began building a new life. She had a full client base and found immense joy in supporting others through the alternative therapy she had mastered. Incredibly, at the age of 45, she fell pregnant. It was the best news she could have imagined, although she faced uncertain times and needed to delve deep within herself to overcome them. She emerged stronger and happier and healthier, and with a beautiful little girl, she continued to offer therapy and healing work to those struggling with life's challenges, and is honored to specialize in fertility. Having learned so much through her own journey, she loves helping women and couples navigate an incredibly emotional time more smoothly. Above all, she wants to help people to realize that what seems impossible can indeed be achieved. It may require confronting discomfort and delving into beliefs and experiences we'd rather forget, but we all have the power to heal and our souls and restore our spirits. Welcome, Liz. It's great to have you here on Liz podcast.
Good morning, gentlemen. Absolutely lovely to be here. And thank you so much for the invite. I'm very, very touched.
What an interesting story. Phenomenal, actually. Fertility coaching and holistic therapy is your passion.
Indeed.
For a good, how long have, to almost conceive that you were not going to be able to fall pregnant, and then at the age of 45, being able to fall pregnant, what a change in your life, what a change in your mindset, what a change in your reality and perceptions of what is actually possible.
Absolutely. And look, this is what I always say is the gift of the fertility journey. It is the opportunity to do life differently. So everything in our life, what we've done consciously and unconsciously, our thoughts, our choices have brought us to where we are. So then when something challenges you, it's an opportunity to do life differently. So with my fertility journey and being desperate to find out the key, especially every time doing an IVF and it didn't work, was then like, well, why hasn't it working? What else is going on? And if I looked everywhere outside of myself and was desperately trying to do everything right, and still it wasn't right. So this is where I had to look inside. And so that's where I recently, then when I first met you, Connor, was then, trying to find out what else is there? What do I need to find out about myself internally? And that's when I went on a big should I say, another journey within that journey to look at what's going on internally. So that's why NLP, hypnotherapy, trying to understand the patterns and our thought patterns and our values. What is that playing within myself where I could be unconsciously blocking? And that's, again, that was then the offer was to start to learn about myself so that I could learn to do things differently because something wasn't right.
Wow. What were the, I mean, I'm sure there were many, and this is, asking this question for the first time, but what were the large epiphanies, ahas? Because I can imagine we're using the example of fertility, but I can imagine that there are other, you know, labels that people have about themselves and their health. They know intrinsically inside it doesn't have to be this way. And you've overcome something, which most people could only dream about overcoming, but you dug deep and you searched within in order to find those answers. You searched within in order to get those results. What was some big, like, wow, this, when I changed this belief, or when I changed this thought, or when I changed this strategy or behavior, this is when I started to notice changes.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, it wasn't any one thing. I would
Yeah.
say it was a a conglomerate of all sorts of things. And learning NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. So neuro, I know but I'll just say this out loud
No,
anyway.
it's good because
Neuro, the mind, L is language. So it's our inner language and how we, in a way, communicate with ourselves, which we don't realize could be positive or negative, could be beneficial or unhelpful, could be toxic or healthy. There's so much that we don't know because we learn it from our role models. And so we just believe that it is what it is and it must be okay. But until we have something that stops us and allows us to question life and where we are, and we can look deeper, then we start realizing, or I started realizing, that perhaps my language wasn't helpful. Perhaps some of my thoughts and beliefs and behaviors and patterns also were not so helpful. And so what did I need to do to change that around? And this is where the reprogramming comes, isn't it? So it's like, with a computer, take out the virus, take out what's unhealthy, take out that thing we keep doing all the time, that pattern, and it keeps happening in my life all the time. And it's so painful. And why does it keep happening? And it allows you to become aware of what that pattern is, and then being able to look at it and going, well, I don't want that anymore. So let what I do want and look at creating that and then moving forward to make that happen. So that's the reprogramming. So the neuro-linguistic programming was one of the biggest steps, platforms and courses that I looked at that really helped me. And then again, I was only going to do the first one, and then I ended up doing master and trainer's training. And trainer's training changed my life, without a doubt. But it was massive at, I think, really meeting myself.
It's interesting, the conversation we're having right now and the way that you approach fertility. And I think the reason why it's so interesting to me is because a lot of the conversations that I have with people, because it's typically my age group and older that are now having issues with fertility. And one of the things that they heavily focus on and that I hear coming up all the time in the conversations is more looking at the lack of fertility from a physical standpoint, looking at, how looking at things like the sperm count for the men and the egg, whether or not the eggs are viable for the women, and how we are set up physically and inside of ourselves. And I think that it's only just in recent times that people are now being more open to what you're saying around the mental and the emotional sides coming into play with fertility. Has that sort of hit critical mass yet? Do you find that people are now acknowledging and being more open to those aspects of fertility or the lack thereof?
I think people are more open to looking and finding a key. And within that, fertility is just one issue because we've got mental health is a big issue. And it then can have a massive effect on fertility as well. Just in Australia itself, our birth rate is declining quite a bit. So I really feel that supporting people on a fertility journey, I mean, my thing here with being in Canberra is I've got all the politics here. So I'm busy hobnobbing now with a lot of different politicians, and fertility is one of those conversations that is becoming higher in the ranks, I suppose. So to support the people that really do want to have children, I think is a really positive issue. Since COVID, I think that has also brought up a big realization that we have problems, emotionally, spiritually, physically, we have problems, and it's okay to say we're not doing well. It's okay to do something about it, and it's okay to walk forward and I suppose look within to find more keys. So yes, I think that there's a lot happening, and I think COVID has actually opened a big area when it comes to mental health. And then going over to fertility, there is now the coined phrase of fertility trauma because it can be such a deep emotional issue for people to, really question themselves, both if you're a male as well as a female. So yes, I think generally there is more, and you can see it now from when I first started training, like with you, Connor, in 2008. I mean, there really wasn't so much to look at for NLP courses and for self-development. And now it's, an amazing sea of all sorts of amazing people that do amazing work in the world to choose from in all sorts of different modalities to help people move forward. So yes, there is a big trajectory where I think people are more open to help themselves, to help themselves and to be the best version of themselves.
Yeah, you mentioned 2008. Gosh, what are we? 2024. That's
Oh, wow.
17 years. Yeah, 16 years.
We were young then, Connor.
We're doing magic tricks at the Tilbury hotels.
Yeah,
Do you think there has been? You said there's this sea now, and would you say you would be one of the reasons why there is this sea? Because people similar to yourself who have overcome adversity in some capacity have worked on themselves, and voila, they now have the ability to do something that they were told. I don't know if they were told, but that's a minority, I guess. But you said you had given up, and you had tried everything, and then hey presto, you have a beautiful girl.
Well, it wasn't hey presto, to be fair. It was 3 years later. So I spent a big time. I spent a long time working on myself and to be free and to be clear and to realize, I'm not going to be a parent. Obviously, the universe has told me in every single way, it doesn't matter what I do, it's not worth, So then I wanted to really work on myself. But luckily, I'd had a lot of tools to be able to do that because I'd already spent years trying and then also doing lots of different modalities because I didn't want to just attend. I wanted to get it and I wanted to understand and I wanted to know. So I wanted to know it from from more of a teacher's point of view. So the fertility journey, I would say, offered me the opportunity to help in a way heal myself, heal my past. Some of the bits, had happened from my past where, we grow up. So things happen in your past. So I'll just, I'll share, and I hope it's not going to trigger anybody, but I'll share something personal. So I'm someone that had sexual abuse as a child. Okay. Now, I consider I had a wonderful growing up time. I loved my childhood. I had a wonderful time, but it was just an aspect that wasn't nice. And so I just pushed it down. I didn't know how to talk about it. So I grew up going, well, I'm okay. There's nothing wrong with me. Yeah, it was something that wasn't great, but I'm okay. But I didn't really think that would have an aspect that would stop me from my fertility. and from being fertile and from having a child. So my journey allowed me to go back and realize, oh, well, maybe this does have something, quite a big aspect that I need to look at. And maybe it is an issue that I do need to go to. So that allowed me then to look in there and realize, by having that, I then created values and beliefs from that. I then created different patterns that weren't healthy. I then realized things about myself that I didn't like. So all of these things had come into play because something had happened that I had chosen to be true. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So,
Yep.
So the fertility journey then allowed me to kind of go back and, in a way, using the NLP thing, look at the language, look at what was going on and what I was thinking, and to kind of go, well, that's not going to be helpful. Let's reprogram it. Because, from that, there was a lot of depression that I suffered as a 20-year-old. And so I could go back and heal and look at a lot of that, but see it in different eyes instead of chastising myself, kind of go, oh my goodness, now I understand and I can see and I can get it as well. But I did a lot of different modalities. Another one was that I learned was the journey, and I'm a journey practitioner as well. And this is through a lot of Brandon Bay's work. And that's what actually got me into NLP. And that really looked a lot of the emotional issues too. So each one created a lovely layer to let go of all of those, I suppose, veils and things, like the armor that we wear that, I suppose that it becomes so tight, and that we don't want anyone to see the true self, because the true self we feel so less than. And then the different modalities and going through NLP, the journey work and hypnotherapy allowed me to then let go of all of that armor and realize, hey, I'm not that bad, and I don't have to hide myself. I can now choose to reprogram, to understand the new values and beliefs, and that I am a good person. And so then I could then stand in my power and realize, well, I would really, and I think learning to really let go, that was massive. Learning to let go and never be a parent, and then find my happiness, that I didn't need something else to make me happy. Allowed, I think, I know it allowed me and my husband to reconnect and to find happiness. And then that's when I feel, I'm writing a book at the moment, and my last chapter is, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. It's like, then I felt Willow went, okay, now she gets it. Now I can come in.
I got goosebumps.
Does that make sense? I felt like I waffled a bit there.
No, it absolutely makes sense. I've seen that be the case for people. We do a lot of business coaching, and funnily enough, we had this conversation with our private community yesterday, where there are things that you may see as being separate from your business that are occurring in your personal life and are affecting you, whether it be current situations or circumstances, whether it be past stuff that's coming up for you. And you may think that it's totally unrelated to your business or your business success. However, in many cases, and I would say often all cases, there is a direct correlation between what's coming up for you and the speed at which you're able to achieve the goals that you've put into your future timeline. And often the reason why it's coming up, the reason why it's in your face and it seems so sort of smack bang right there for you to deal with, is because it holds the key to unlock the door to achieve those things that you've set out to do. And in fact, had you not have walked that path or set out to achieve that, you may not have had those things come up and present themselves to you for resolution. And I'm making an analogy here. It's quite an odd one to make, but I do think that it's apt in the sense that our unconscious minds work in funny ways. And whilst, yes, one of the prime directives is to protect and preserve the body, the other is to get resolution on those repressed memories and those repressed emotions that we've had in the past. So really, in order to have you become the person that you need to become, meaning, create the environment that you need to have to welcome those new experiences, those new business goals, or those new babies, if you will, those families, there are things that I guess in order to protect the body further so that there is no rehashing of old patterns. Stuff does come up and it can be in your face. And often that is reflective of how big the goal that you've set, and bringing a life form, bringing a little soul into the world is a huge goal. And it's a huge undertaking. And, I feel like it's hardwired into who we are to have that process happen of resolving repressed stuff. And I think that it's twofold. I think on one hand, it's a part of our personal evolution for that to occur and for that to happen. I think that by necessity, sometimes we do need to project this stuff inside into the outside world. Otherwise, we'd never deal with it. We'd never worry about handling it. Like, what's more important, to just get on with your daily life and just deal with the status quo, or, okay, no, I want a baby now, and I really, really want one because it's really important to me. Well, okay, well now I know that you'll deal with this stuff. So I'm going to bring this stuff up now for you to deal with it. So, it's just I guess I was just riffing a little bit on that idea and that thought. I think that it's interesting because it's not always obvious or even intuitive for people, I think, these days to think about working on those areas first when they're wanting to start a family, when they're wanting to have a child. So I guess one of my questions is, and I think it's probably a question that the audience has as well, is when would somebody engage in the services that you have? Like, is it because oftentimes people have the idea that the first thing that they do after a period of time of trying to start a family is to go and have IVF. So when do people normally engage these types of services, and how would they know that it was the next step for them?
Okay, there's lots in that you were asking, Callum. So first of all, let's look at, I feel we all have things in our life that will sort of floor us and stop us. For some people it's fertility, for some people it's health. Maybe it can be loss, but there'll be things in our life that will stop us and in a way allow us to question who we are. And it's the opportunity then to go deeper or not. Some people are really happy just doing their little thing, as other people want more, and that's all perfect. We're all different in what we want to achieve and do in our lives. And I do feel, like you said, our purpose, is about finding completion. And, I think a lot of us in our lives will unconsciously end up doing jobs where we're trying to help people. Like, I had a client the other day and she had similar sexual abuse. And so her big thing is she goes to like war-torn countries and saves dogs and brings them back to the UK. And I'm like, that desperate part of her who knew she was never safe at home. So she goes to a place that's unsafe and brings back these dogs to save them. That part where we're trying to almost do that. We're at the little one that never got saved. So it's quite interesting what people can end up doing. And we can either choose to take up the challenge to help heal ourselves or not. And, that is always an internal conversation and something that, some people choose to and some people choose not to. And we have to honor whatever decision that is for the person. So for me, because I have had, because I had so many years in health and well-being, and then had the journey of fertility, then giving up, then getting pregnant. I was even told that my daughter wouldn't be viable when I was pregnant. So that was another very interesting journey. But each of those things I can now honor because it gave me a very interesting blueprint of, I am the oldest in my peer group with the youngest child. But to know, it's not just 1 or 2 years, it was 10 years. And then I had a friend that said, I think you should focus on supporting other people in the fertility arena because I think it's something that you could do. And that was I didn't think about it. Someone had to tell me. And I was like, oh, do you think so? And so that has grown from there. Now, then going back, when is the right time? So that is an interesting question because when is the right time? Now, we grow up thinking, well, a lot of us do anyway, especially if you want to have children, because these days more and more people are choosing not to have children for different reasons, and that's super cool. Yeah. But you grow up assuming that it will just happen, and for a lot of people it does. And then there's for an amount as well, it doesn't. And there's nothing more than when you can't have something. I mean, you've both got kids. As soon as you know you can't have that chocolate biscuit or that pink plate or whatever it is, they want it more. And like, I wanted to have kids. It wasn't necessarily the biggest urge because I just assumed it would happen. But the more that it didn't happen, the more that became a deeper pull of like, well, why? And then it's like, well, what's wrong with me? It's interesting of what happens to the self-questioning and then the doubt there becomes a lot of grief as well as shame. Shame is a big one. Who am I? And I've also supported a lot of men with fertility issues and lots of shame, as being a man, I can't even produce a child. So it's quite interesting. So I think whenever feels right for the individual, because what I can do, I specialize in unexplained infertility. So when we're trying to do everything and it's still not working. So with the unexplained infertility is looking at the trauma and the things that may have happened in the past that create, it's looking at the scars that don't show up under a microscope.
Yeah.
Of course, it would be great to be able to have a fertility coach as you're going into this, but you just don't know what's going to really happen, is there? So usually people find me a couple of years down the track and it's not working and they don't understand why. So that tends to be always a good time when we're realizing I've got the doctors, they're doing their best, but why isn't it working? There is other stuff going on. Because it's not just about what's physically going on. A lot of it is about what's emotionally going on. Because whatever's going on in our mind and the unconscious mind, as you're aware, is only manifesting. It's like a mirror is happening throughout the body. So we can be doing everything right, but if we're in high stress, and depending on what else stresses there are in that individual's person, biologically, our body can either produce a large amount of stress, cortisol, and adrenaline, or it can produce estrogen and progesterone. It can't do both. So, we can't get pregnant when we're running away from a tiger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, it's good, isn't it? So,
Well, I mean, it seems obvious, but it wasn't to me, to be honest. Like the fact that those two hormones can't be produced at the same time, that's fascinating. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. And usually, if you think about when we're in high stress, of course, our digestion goes off and we're busy having to run away from that saber-toothed tiger or whatever it is. And again, the saber-toothed tiger can look quite different for all of us these days. I'm sort of talking about it in primitive ways because I usually
So nowadays it could be interest rates, it could be
money,
time.
Yeah.
time,
Yeah,
a partner, the kids, the in-laws, the job, there's so many things that tiger can be, can't it? Not getting pregnant, not feeling worthy, not feeling good enough, not loving yourself. There's just so many things.
Hey guys, Callum and Connor here from Connect Coaching. I hope you're enjoying this episode of the Unplugged podcast. We're jumping in to let you know about something really exciting, the Forever Client Matrix.
Absolutely. What we love doing is lighting people up and helping them realize that their future is bright and most importantly, making a difference in this world. So we are very excited to be able to share this with you.
If you want to turn every prospect into a Forever Client, then please click on the link below in the description and get instant access now to your preview of the Forever Client Matrix.
Enjoy.
I've got to go to all these appointments and I've got to be at work. I can't tell work because, they might think differently of me and I don't want to tell anybody. And so then, even then, without wanting to do that emotionally, we're like, and like people go in. And again, I don't want to trigger anybody, but like sometimes people have just had a miscarriage, but they don't want to tell any of their friends at work. So they go in and of course, then they're like, well, why have you done this work? And then they still don't say nothing. So that's going to have a massive traumatic impact on that person's body. So that's why just bringing awareness to it. And this is the whole reason, when is the right time to go and see a fertility coach? When is the right time to know when to do anything? Because there's no like book saying, if this happens, you should do that. And if not, actually go back over here and you do this. There's none of that. And this was the big impetus for me for wanting to do the first Australian Fertility Summit, because I wanted to create a platform where people can go and find some answers, find some understanding, ask questions, and also know that they're not alone. So find a community where we're all going through the same thing to a lesser or greater degree in some way or another. And I hear you and I see you. And it's okay. We can do this. So that's why I want to provide something to say, because I know I have a lot of clients where, either they might have had a massive argument with their partner. Oh, I don't want to see you anymore. And I'm going to wait and work on this. And I'm just kind of like, oh, I can so help you. And then like, oh, my last cycle hasn't worked. It's too much. It's too stressful. I'm going to stop. And I'm just like, oh, I know I can really help you then, because the fertility journey isn't always about getting the baby. I find a lot of the fertility journey is about finding ourselves. And when we find ourselves, guess what? So can our baby.
Then, when I first did learn NLP and timeline therapy back in 2004, I did a breakthrough session with a lady, and her husband was there, and he was doing a breakthrough session, and they already had 2 kids. This was Anthony and Melissa, and they already had 2 kids, and they had tried for the third for about close to a year, and they already had 2.
Yeah.
So here I am, 24. I'm new to all of this, and I do a breakthrough session with Melissa, and her husband does a breakthrough session with whoever he does it with, and literally 9 months later, having the 3rd child, and it completely blew my mind, because I came from a traditional way of thinking that everything has to be done by the book. If the book doesn't say that it's going to work, then you can't prove anything. And this was the first time I had a huge awakening within myself with what is possible with the mind and the body. And that was my first, you serious? Working up means that you can have such a physiological change. It's so much so that now you're having your 3rd child 1 month later. 9 months later.
Yeah.
After not, it completely blew my mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you feel the awareness of that is growing, and with successes that you had personally and your clients, where do you see this going? Because right now it's not included in the IVF treatment. Let's just say when you do IVF treatment, you don't get IVF treatment and a holistic coach.
No.
Would you propose the ideal world would be you would have both working together?
Yes, it would be lovely, because then you've got, I suppose, the medical profession working on the body, and then, the therapist, the fertility coach, or people working on the mind, being able to work on what makes the body work, and think and feel and do and create, in all sorts of different ways, not just a baby. So yeah, I think that we can work together. That's why I want to bridge that gap, bringing the medical and the complementary therapist, fertility experts together, because I think that they are such a complement and a collaboration together. Because now there is, I've got 23 different stall holders. So for my summit, because it's more than a conference and it's not quite an expo, so I'm calling it a summit because it's, bringing it high. So I've got, 7 speakers, of which 4 are fertility IVF doctors. And then there's a nutritionist. I'm speaking as well on the fact that you can't get pregnant when you're running away from a tiger. Yeah. And then I've got 23 different stall holders. And what's been really great is to start to meet all of the different modalities that have been created, usually through people's own experiences, which is kind of what you were saying before, Callum. There's a lady that's gone through, fertility and loss. So, we've got stillbirth, we've got lots of miscarriages as well. So really being able to support people through that. And there's another one about, fertility and pregnancy and what happens afterwards, because usually it's just about being able to get pregnant. Then it's just about being able to make sure I stay pregnant. And then the other part is like, oh, I didn't even get that far because I was too scared to get that far. Pelvic health specialists, acupuncture, and there's so many amazing different modalities that are all passionate when it comes to, I suppose, the prenatal, but also that fertility phase where it's not been easy to get pregnant. So, and that's been amazing to see, which wasn't around before, and it wasn't around when I was trying. But now I can create something where I can offer this to the public that are on that journey. So I can say, look at all of this stuff that's here to help you, and listen to the doctors who are really great at doing, amazing things. We've got IVF and aging, fertility and endometriosis. Endometriosis is 1 in 8 of us will suffer, in women, should I say, suffer from endometriosis, which has a massive impact again on fertility. Yeah. So 1 in 6 fertility issues, 1 in 8 endometriosis, and 1 in 10 polycystic ovaries, which again all feed into fertility issues. So it's a great way to, I think, put us all together in one room to let everybody realize that collaboration, I think, could be key. And let's see where it can go from here. My vision is this one goes really well, packed and the best. And then really I continue from there. And I'd like to take it to Perth and a few other places, but also allow this to grow, because I assume every capital city in Australia will have its own fertility issues, fertility doctors, and amazing fertility therapists. So let's raise that, because the more we can support them, then we're helping Australia, also to grow and be the best it can be.
So can you unpack it a little bit in regards to the date? So what's it called?
Yeah.
The Australia's first fertility summit?
Yes, I'm calling it the Australian Fertility Summit. It is the first one so far. So this year it's happening in Canberra, because I live in Canberra, so it was a great place to start. And it's on July the 20th this year, 2024, and it's from 9:30 in the morning till 5 in the afternoon, and it's packed full of a lot of information, a lot of support, knowledge, a big hug and a smile, and just about being able to support everyone and to raise awareness and to, I suppose, to help everybody know that there is a lot on offer to support them.
Excellent.
And it's run over 1 day, 2 days. What is the?
I had to start with 1 day. If I can make 1 day great, then I can definitely go and do 2 days and make it even greater. So yes, I was advised. In my head, I had a weekend, but they're like, look, just start with a day, make the day really good, and then you can grow from there. So I'm starting with 1 day and making that the best it can be. And so the exciting things are, the additions to that is through Genea, which is one of the biggest sort of fertility clinics nationally in Australia. They're giving away a free fertility cycle. So we're having that packaged up in a really lovely competition to support people that are finding it difficult, and so that we can support that. So that's massive and really, really good. I'm very excited about that, and to be able to help a couple. We've got lots of lucky door prizes from different people there that are in the stalls as well. I'm giving away one. And we've got a lovely lady called Sheila V. She was on the last 2 seasons of Big Miracles. Now, I don't know if everyone's watched Big Miracles or not, but Big Miracles has had 2 seasons. And that's where they follow 7 different couples on their IVF journey. And Sheila and her husband, Tyson, were one of those couples. And they've literally just had a little bubby. And she's going to be our MC, which I'm super, super excited about.
The element I am
She's awesome.
Sheila.
Yeah.
Did you?
She
went
went
through
through
the
the
training.
similar pathway as you.
Yes.
She's awesome. I saw just recently, it must have only been like a month ago, that she had a baby. Is that right?
Yeah, no, she literally had it a couple of days ago. The 11th. The 11th. Yes. The 11th, when I say a couple of weeks ago. Yes, the 11th of April. So, new little bub into this world. So she was 47. And, so again, through networking, a friend sort of said, oh, I'm at a group and know Sheila V. I wonder if that might be of help. And so it was wonderful to have a chat. I didn't know where that would go. And, and then it's ended up with her being able to collaborate with us, which I am absolutely so grateful for. And she knows the journey, and she's done it much more recent than I have. So she's going to be such a beautiful addition to help people know, I see you, I hear you, And we're going to do a panel with her and ask lots of questions. So it's going to, yeah, just
She's
awesome.
such a powerful human as well. She's got great energy. She's awesome.
Yeah, she seems to be.
She is, yeah. So tell me, who would you like? Who would this be great for? Who is it? Is it just women and men that are going through this, or is it for medical practitioners as well to understand the different options that are out there and available to people? Who would you like to see come along?
Yeah. So basically what I realized when I was kind of doing my research, because I was like, how else can I help people? I wish I could go and talk to them. What I realized was if you were a medical practitioner or if you're more, say, doing acupuncture, there was a lot of trainings for fertility, but there was nothing for the public that are going through the problem, so to speak, the fertility issue. There's nothing for them. So this is really for the individual or the couple that are going through a fertility journey. Maybe they're on a fertility journey and feeling stuck and hopeless. Maybe they're about to start one, being told they have to do IVF. Maybe they realize they've been trying for a while and it's not working. And so they're just looking at options. What is there out there? I don't know. Of course, I hear of IVF, but what is that? And maybe there are also people who have had some health issues for all sorts of reasons. So knowing that when they choose to have children, they may need to have assisted reproduction. And also for people that are just curious, I'm interested to know more about fertility, reproduction, who's out there to help me. Maybe I just know I'm highly stressed. I mean, in my early days, I remember before I got pregnant, I did have a lot of women coming to me just saying, I need help with stress, anxiety, and I need to get all that in order because after that, I know I need to get pregnant. So, they wanted to get hold of that, knowing that it may be an impact, but they weren't on a fertility journey yet. So it's for everybody, all of those individuals and couples that may be around there, because there is nothing at the moment for them to find answers and to ask questions and to be introduced to a load of stall holders that are full of fertility experts in different sort of complementary fields.
Find that amazing that there isn't anything already, and I'm really excited that somebody like you, Liz, is heading this up because I just know how passionate you are. But not only that, your nurturing side runs so deep; it's so far past the surface level. You can feel it every time you're around you, just how much you actually care about people. So I'm really, really happy about that. I am
very kind. Thank you.
I am really interested though, and you touched on it just there. Women who know that they're not even there yet with wanting to have kids, but they know they want to have kids and they are concerned about whether or not they're going to be able to. They have noticed that they are experiencing anxiety or high levels of stress. Are there any other signs that maybe they would be aware of that could I guess prompt them to come along to this event or to seek somebody like you out? Are there other signs that they should be looking out for?
Well, I don't know if there's other signs. I think with anything, it's that curiosity and, more now than ever, the idea of freezing your eggs and when you're younger,
Yeah.
when you're younger is now becoming more of a reality and an idea. So I think for anybody that's interested in, what do I want to do next with my life and my legacy and leaving something, and I want to learn about my health, both just me as a human being, my health in my mind, stress, and what may be causing my stresses, because that has an impact on our health and our reproductive system, as well as me future-wise possibly wanting to be parents. All of those areas are areas that we're going to be looking at. So, it's just for anybody that could be curious about fertility and how it could impact their body, really. So, I think just anything, even being curious and wanting to know more. I mean, that's a good time to question and ask somebody.
Yeah.
Oops.
Well, Liz, I second what Callum said. The nurturing side of you would create an incredibly supportive space for anyone going through any journey. But this one that you've chosen, the Fertility Summit, and helping couples and individuals who would like to bring new life into this world, how important in terms of the future of the planet, how important is that? So you certainly jumped into a massive pond there. And we look forward to sharing the journey with you and doing as much as we can from the sidelines to cheer you along. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you very much for sharing this with us and coming on today.
Well, look, thank you both so much. It was a real honor and a real pleasure. And it's great to always chat to you guys because I know we all have a very big passion about being the best versions of ourselves. That's where we love this work, don't we? We just love it. So yeah, thank you so much. And what I'll do is I'll just highlight that again. So it's the Australian Fertility Summit, the 20th of July, 2024, being held in Canberra.
What day is that? 20th of July.
It's a Saturday.
Cool.
Being held at the Canberra Southern Cross Club in Woden. We would love to see anybody that is wanting to find out more about fertility and who they are and wanting to get more support. So I will make sure I send you the link as well.
Links, website, Facebook page. How do people find if someone is listening?
Yes. Yeah, that's right. So luckily it's all the same. AustralianFertilitySummit.com. The socials, Insta and Facebook, Australia Fertility Summit. Nice and easy. I know it's a bit long to tap in, but it says what it does on the tin, so to speak.
We'll put all the links in the description. We always upload these to YouTube, so we'll put all the links in the description, or if you're watching it on another platform, if we've uploaded these on other platforms, we'll have all the links for Liz and the Australian Fertility Summit in the description for you to be able to find it easily as well.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. And just love the work that you guys do too as well. So I'm loving being able to watch you guys and see you guys grow too. So we're all doing it at the same time. Changing the planet. I remember someone used to say, we're changing the planet.
It's like transform the planet.
Transform the planet. That's it.
We believe the future is bright and Connor's tagline is making a difference. And I feel like that's very much aligned with you. We're both blessed with beautiful kids and beautiful families, and it breaks my heart when I see good friends of ours and mine and my wife's that are going through this journey because it is tough. And I know that there's been occasions where they haven't come to birthdays and they haven't come to our house.
Yeah.
It's hard for them to be around
us
kids and that. Like I'm getting choked up now. It's heartbreaking. And I think that if more people know about the other options that are available, if they know about you, if they know about this summit, then like you said, only the next generation is going to benefit and Australia is going to benefit for it. So, you've got the two biggest supporters in us. Anything that we can do, we'll keep doing for you.
Thank you so very much. And can I just finish on something? I always get the question, when women go, why me? Why is it me that has to be on this fertility journey? Why me? And so I like to say, why not you? You get the opportunity to clear and heal all of your stuff from the past because it means that you are being called for a higher calling and it's up to you to step up because your child will make a difference in this world. So you're on this journey because it's time to wipe the slate clean and heal yourself so that your child can then help this world become the best place it can be because this world kind of needs it right now. So it's a calling.
I agree. Thank you so much, Liz Walton, the Australian Fertility Summit. Check out the descriptions to find her check out the comments in the description to find out all the links on how to find her, how to get connected and how to be involved in that amazing event. Thank you so much, Liz.
Thank you guys so much too.
Hey guys, Callum and Connor here from Connect Coaching. I hope you're enjoying this episode of the Unplugged podcast. We're jumping in to let you know about something really exciting. If you are a practitioner, a coach, or a trainer in the alternative therapy modality space, the Forever Client Matrix is something that we've modeled in the last 30 combined years, both Connor and my experience. And we've turned it into a 2-day intensive, and we want to give you a preview of that Forever Client Matrix.
Absolutely.
We want to make the bar for them to enter into that program very, very low and have them get incredible results.
I've sold about $40 million worth, and together we've sold about $100 million worth with our teams.
That's right. We believe that trust and reliability is the currency of the future. So if you want to turn every transaction into a transformational experience, if you want to turn every prospect into a forever client, then please click on the link below in the description and get instant access now to your preview of the Forever Client Matrix.
Enjoy.